to a holy place, going there to your batteries, right? And every tradition has some pilgrimage, like the Muslims go to Mecca. When I was growing up, my father went on retreats. And as a kid, I couldn't understand what he was doing, leaving the family for the weekend when he's usually with us and going off with the priests and spending time alone. And, but these are very for our spiritual life. So, unfortunately, I do more shopping than pilgrimage. And that's the reason I'm able to go all the time, because I do service while I'm there. So, here we go. So, before I start, we were planning on going to a new place this time up in the Himalayan foothills of Shimla, which was a British hill station. And so it had like Indian architecture and also the British influence, and also it was near Tibet. So, I was really looking forward to going there. I thought, this will be a great slideshow because I've never been there and it'll be very interesting and like that. So when we landed in India and we were waiting for our flight and waiting for our flight and waiting for our flight, finally they said, flight is canceled. And there's only one flight a day up there. So then, not wanting to give up, we're looking at the trains, we're looking at the buses. We met some other girls that were trying to get there. And I thought, look, we'll split a taxi 5 ways. And then they said, well, if there's no plane up, plane back, so you might get stuck up there because they're having lots of rain and landslide. Anyway, we had to give that up. So this is just basically Vrindavan and Delhi, so that I've been to probably 60 times. But anyway, I'll try to make it good. All right. So when we first enter Vrindavan, it's said that one must take the blessings and the permission of Lord Shiva. So Lord Shiva is in 4 directions there in Vrindavan. He has many temples in Vrindavan also, but the 4 directions. So this is Gopeshwara Shiva. And so we go there. The first thing after we settle in, we go right outside. They have a stand where they have the charnamrit, which is ghee, butter, yogurt, honey, rose water. We get a bowl of it and we go inside and offer it to him and some donation. And then we feel, okay, our trip here to Vrindavan will be successful. Next thing we do is go to the tailors and start ordering all the clothes. So this young man here, his name is Sunil, and I dealt with his grandfather when I first started going to India, which is what the shop is named after, Guru Prasad. And then his son, which is Kunja Bihari, and he also left his body. So now the son is taking over. So we go, and for many, many years, so all the gopi dresses and all the skirts and things all come from his shop. And gradually, they start off with like a little table with some gumshas or something. And then gradually, they get more and more things by the mercy, actually, of Srila Prabhupada, because he brought all the Westerners there. And they had to get the clothing. So these guys are all millionaires now. And then we go to the beadwala, where we get our kunti mala, our japa beads, and we have to put in orders. So we're only there for a week. So we have to put in our orders right away. So another thing we do there is, this is the sacred river Jamuna. And many people have heard of the Ganges. And the Ganges came down from the heavenly planets. It was kicked, the covering of the universe was kicked by an incarnation of Krishna. So it's considered very sacred. It's coming down from the lotus feet of Krishna. But the Jamuna is considered even more sacred because Krishna had many pastimes in the Jamuna with his cowherd boyfriends, with his gopis. And so we go here, particularly, you'll see the little shrine we have set up. So the devotees now are getting older, they're leaving their bodies. So every time I go to India now, we bring someone's ashes. If you're a pure devotee of God and you have no attachment to your body, then you don't have to be cremated. You can just be entombed like our Guru Srila Prabhupada. But if you have any attachment, then at the time of death, the subtle body is attached to the body, so it doesn't want to move on. And so when it's cremated, severed. So we go there with ashes, and we have a picture of the departed soul. We have flowers, we have garlands, we have sweets. Sometimes we even bring a sari for the Jamuna River, and we offer that. Oh God. Ew. All right. So there's a nice scene of the Jamuna. We go on the other side of the Jamuna, where away from prying eyes, and it's also a little cleaner on the other side, and but it's a beautiful vista. So here we are, we're in the water with some of my friends, and we offer, after we do the ceremony and we chant beautiful prayers to the Jamuna, asking her permission, then we let the ashes go in the water along with tulsi and flower petals. Then we take bath and frolic in the nice, beautiful water of the Jamuna. And then we are watching the ashes merge into the water and float down toward Agra. Okay, I'm not really sure why I put this one in here. We actually I'd never seen this before. We took a wrong turn on the rickshaw, and then I thought, this is where all the garbage goes. You never see anyone collect it. It's like always laying around in the street, but obviously someone must come around at night. Okay, this is one of the 7 major temples of Vrindavan that Lord Chaitanya had asked his intimate associates with to discover the different holy places. So Rupa Goswami had this beautiful temple constructed. It used to be bigger, it was a little higher, but Aurangzeb, which was the Mughal emperor in Agra, which is where the Taj Mahal is, he was there on his balcony. And then he saw in the distance, it's about, 40 or 50 miles away, Vrindavan from the Taj Mahal. And he saw a flame, he saw a fire. And he asked his associates, what is that? He said, oh, that's the temple. That's the top of the temple of Radha Govinda. And so he became so envious that something could compete with the mosque that he said, immediately go and dismantle that temple. I don't want anything to be higher than the mosque. So like in all good spy stories, there was agents in there. And so they went to Vrindavan and told the devotees there that the Mughal soldiers were coming to dismantle the temple and also destroy the deities. So they mobilized and got all the deities out, but still they came and they start dismantling the temple, and they dismantled the top floor, I think the next floor. Then when they got to this floor, there was a huge noise, like an unearthly sound, and they got all scared and ran away. So this is what's left of it, but what's left of it is quite an amazing structure. Another reason we go here particularly is because it has a deity of Vrinda Devi down in the basement that Rupa Goswami installed. So Vrinda Devi organizes and manages all the pastimes of Vrindavan. So my friend and I, like to go there and, offer respects and pray. And especially I was praying to help empower us all to build our new temple. So it's not easy to see. It takes, the price is going up. It takes a bribe of this time we had to give 1,000 rupees, which was about $12. And we had some jewelry, Maha jewelry from Alachua that we gave. So there was a big group of pilgrims there. So I said, let's wait, stay back, stay back. Okay, as soon as the pilgrims left, then we ran up and we, we gave it to him, and then he, immediately puts it in his pocket. And then he indicates, go around to the side. So then this is the side of the building. It's so gorgeous. You can't quite appreciate it in a picture, but so he had us go in the back entrance. So we're crawling up the stairs, and they actually had to shut the temple, shut the darshan, like we shut the curtains, because in order to get to the downstairs chamber, we had to walk through the altar. And for like a couple of Western girls in one of the very strict temples of Vrindavan to walk through the temple was like quite an amazing thing. Not only that, but he put his hand out and told us to put our head on the Shalagram Shila deity there. And so we were able to pray and got tulsi leaves. And when we went downstairs, the chamber is so small and the stairs are so steep that you have to go down backwards because there's not enough room. So it was like a really cool experience, and it was one of the highlights of our trip. Okay, now we are switching up to Delhi. This is Old Delhi. We have New Delhi, and this is Old Delhi. And you can see the streets are so narrow there that you can't take a car. So we had to take a taxi and then a rickshaw, and then, walk to get here. This area is the Chippiwata area, and this is a place where Srila Prabhupada stayed before he came to America, and also when the first disciples came over to Delhi, they actually also stayed here. So we try to get anything that we can that Srila Prabhupada spent time in, we try to secure because it's history for us in a very special place. So we're on our way there to this particular temple. So it's very crowded. It's kind of a trip to get there. So it's more like a museum. It has so many pictures and letters that Prabhupada wrote while he was there. And the devotees from Delhi managed the temple, and it was quite nice. It was pretty dilapidated, but they spent money and time, and they fixed it up into a beautiful, beautiful place. They just had this picture of Srila Prabhupada. This is a picture of Prabhupada at the Ratha Yatra in, I think, 1974. And so we were pretending we were there. I was there in 75, but I missed that one. Also in that area, it's a big brass area. And so to get, deities and different things. So this was a nice Sikh gentleman and his son. And generally, previously, and it's still there to a certain degree now, but whatever the father did, then automatically the son would do. So this is the father. He's pretty senior there, but he handles the till. He handles the money, runs around, and the shops are about like 6 foot by 6 foot, but they got every inch, and then they have a little rickety ladder at the back. And if you want something special, the son climbs up the rickety ladder up into the attic and poof, produces something really nice. Let's see, whoops. Okay. All right, this is just showing you the area. It's pretty crowded and funky. This is what we got to go through, to get to the good shopping and the good special places. And then, then you see something amazing. This is the Red Fort. So you see all these ramshackle buildings and things, and then you come across a beautiful place like this or a beautiful park. And then that's gone soon, and then it's kind of back to this. So crowded in Delhi. There's, I think, 34 million people in Delhi. We think we have like traffic jams here. We got 1,000 people in Tucson, or 1 million people in Tucson. So 34 million. It's a lot. Okay, and everywhere we go, we find some nice shopping. Shopping takes a long time there because it's not like you just go in and buy. You go in, you sit down, they give you drinks, they ask you questions, and it's like a whole social thing. So it takes us a long time to do everything. But people are so nice, they're super friendly and sweet. Okay, now we're at our Delhi temple, our flagship temple of New Delhi. New Delhi is so large, like I said, that they have 13 major temples. Not like a little place like we have here, but like a huge, amazing temple. So we always come here and take darshan. It started out, there was the land was donated by the government, but it was just a big rock. It was a hill of rocks. So coming every year, we'd be staying at the temple, and there's just dynamite explosions just to level the land. But they persevered, and they have a beautiful beautiful temple. This is a temple room. It's round and very gorgeous and always crowded. This is a picture of Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa-san. It's actually another like 5 feet, but I couldn't get the whole thing in the picture. We have a little humble one there, but very ornate. I mean, they have so many amazing craftsmen in India. Okay, now we're back in Vrindavan. This is the Krishna Balaram temple. Srila Prabhupada really wanted a Western headquarters there in Vrindavan that the devotees could go and get trained up. And at the time, this place was way outside of town. You couldn't even find a rickshaw to go there because it was so far away. And plus it would be full of like dacoits and robbers because it was so isolated. But the devotees stuck it out there and, built this amazing, beautiful temple. These are one of the sets of deities there, Sri Sri Gaurnitai. This is the 24-hour kirtan since 1975. The devotees have had 24-hour kirtan, so that means 24 hours all around. From the only time they don't have the kirtan is another type of kirtan is going on, like they're having class, but midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, they're just always chanting. So for almost 50 years, they've been chanting, and it's quite amazing. And they have so many wonderful musicians, and they've trained so many devotees who've gone all over the world and made a name for themselves from getting trained up here at the 24-hour kirtan. And this is the courtyard of the temple. And we had to bring out the Prabhupada's Vyasa-san, and because there was just so many people. Even we went off season. We went at the end of the monsoon season, and still it was packed. This is, I couldn't get the right picture here. Actually, there's about 10 people that have their cell phones up with a neon sign, and there's about 3 of them in there about no photos, and everyone had last time I was there, they had these very aggressive lady guards there. And if you whipped out a cell phone, boy, you were in trouble. But then I guess everyone complained. So now they just have the sign instead, but that doesn't really deter anyone. Just another foggy picture there of the devotees in the Guru Puja before class. This is Krishna Balaram. Those are the presiding deities there. They're life-size. We have little tiny ones, but these are life-size, and they're so gorgeous. This is Radha Shama Sundar. And for many devotees, certainly for myself, when I'm there, this is really Radha and Krishna. This is the actual Radha and Krishna. They have so much potency, and it's so beautiful to behold them. You probably can't see much of the details, but many of the ornaments, the crowns, are all made of flowers. They have these little jasmine buds, and every day they have new stuff, and plus so many beautiful garlands. Their every day is like 10 times more opulent than our biggest festival. That's the opulent. They also have a new museum. It's like a diorama. And so it's sort of you go around it yourself, and they have nice signage in Hindi and in English about the different pastimes of Krishna, the disciplic succession. And so it's very nice. So people get an education of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness in a very attractive way. Speaking of attraction, this is one of the many, many, many amazing sweet shops they have in India. Previously, you would go to India and you'd lose weight because you'd get dysentery and you'd get sick. Now you go to India, you gain weight because they have so many amazing, every corner is like 10 restaurants and things, but this is all Indian sweetmeats and some Western cakes and stuff. So it was just very attractive. This is another one of the 13 temples in Delhi. This is a place called Rohini, and it's about an hour outside of Delhi, and it's all made of red sandstone. Actually, right next, there's not a picture of it, but right next to they have a yard that's walled in, but they brought all the artisans from Rajasthan, and they're over there, tick, 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 carving all this. It wasn't quite done. The guru that was in charge of Delhi was getting older and had a lot of heart problems, and he was going to leave his body. So he said, I want to see the 13th temple open before I leave. So it wasn't really finished, but they opened it anyway. And but it was quite amazing to see. These are the deities they have there, Panchatattva. Very beautiful, super opulent.
Are those life-size as well?
Yes. And they have Radha Krishna and the gopis, and they also have Sitaram. This is their temple room, just the amazing lotus flower on the ceiling. Super nice too, very sweet, super clean, really together. This is just the hallway. They have a circumambulating the deities. They have a beautiful hall there with pictures and everything. Every inch is carved. Gorgeous. This is a funny story. We thought we would save money and time by getting an Airbnb in Delhi. And somehow the advertisement was not quite forthcoming. And so when we got there, it was like a dive with, not just a dive, but it was like full of mold and mildew, and it was super austere. And I can almost tolerate anything. So I was like, oh, well, we're here for 5 days, but my friend has the higher taste. So after like 4 days, she comes in the morning. She goes, I couldn't even sleep last night. I could, the smell of this place. She goes, we're going to the best hotel in Delhi tomorrow. And it was like it cost a small fortune. And I said, well, if you pay for it, I'll come with you. But so this place was actually built quite a long time ago, but then they renovated it. And already the hospitality in India is like top notch. And you go to a place like this and you're like queen for a day. It was super nice. And I got spoiled in a day. This is just, you can't appreciate, it was just so incredible. Just every inch was opulent. And it was a artist hotel. There's 3 floors, and they had all original beautiful pictures that were painted by one man. He must have took him his whole lifetime, of the history of India, like over the last 150 years. Really beautiful, a lot of detail, a lot of holy places, and it was quite an experience to stay there. Oh God. So they have a hospital there in Vrindavan, and it's run by devotees, and it was a little bit disappointing, actually. I actually had my ears cleaned out there, and this was just a pretty funky place. But this was nice. This was the waiting room, and so they had the deities, and they had piped in music and things. But they have a ways to go to catch up with the West.
How did they take the stuff out of your ears?
Very primitively.
Yeah.
They use water?
On a like a bed that had been used by the last 50 people, I think. Like just something out of like a horror movie, really, with like stained pillow and like blood on the sheet. And I was like, okay. And the doctor was like, he had been working all day, didn't want to be there, he was frustrated, and it was quite an experience. Okay, this was kind of cool. This was like you go places and there's like a drinking fountain. So this is the drinking fountain in Vrindavan. So they have, actually the clay pots work very well in the heat. They actually make it very cool. And then they have, some plastic things, and they even have a bucket at the end. If you have your own cup, you can rinse it out. So I thought that was very cute. Okay, this is Kusum Sarovara, which is, very beautiful place, and a place where Krishna and the gopis used to go and sport. And then right next door, well, like I said, we do a lot of shopping, but we always make sure that we do something, a few spiritual things. I mean, besides going to the temples and stuff. So we wanted to take a taxi around Govardhan Hill. And when I went there last, you could take a taxi around Govardhan Hill. You didn't have to get out. It was raining that day. But now they changed it. So now you have to take a little motor rickshaw, and it was all open and it was pouring down rain. So it was super austere. So anyway, right next door to the temple, to the Kusum Sarovar, was a very sweet pastime. Like sometimes, like I said, we try to acquire temples that are associated with Srila Prabhupada and a history of ISKCON. And sometimes the pujaris of these many temples see that ISKCON has a high standard and has a lot of devotees to maintain. So then they give us their temple to maintain. So this is one such temple. And this is a pastime of, you can see it a little better here. At the top, that is Krishna. And Krishna has a comb in his hand. And the bottom is Radharani, and she has a mirror. So the pastime is that Krishna is combing Radharani's hair and decorating it with flowers. And she's very coyly looking as if she's looking at herself, but she's actually seeing Krishna's reflection in the mirror. It's a very sweet place, and they're very nice. All right, it's not India without some monkeys. And they are everywhere in Govardhan. So we went around and, we couldn't get out too much because it was pouring down rain, but we were, just taking some pictures of the beautiful kunds. And you can't really see it. It got really cloudy, but Govardhan Hill is in the back. And this is a nice picture. This is Radhakund and Shamakund, which is considered some of the most sacred places on the planet. So there's some pilgrims there offering prayers there in the there. And this is kind of the back part because there's it's kind of a spiritual tourist place. So if you go to the main ghat, then all the guys come running up and try to get you to, give bakshish, and they'll bless you and your family and your next 10 generations behind. So anyway, we snuck around and just took some water from this spot. Radhakund is also known for the great tulsi they carve by hand. So we got out despite the weather and was wheeling and dealing for quite some time. My friend is from the biggest temple in North America. They have several thousand devotees. So when she shops, she really shops. So she had to get a lot of beads.
Which temple is it?
Alachua. So these three gentlemen inserted themselves into our shopping experience. You can see they have raincoats on, their garbage bags that they put over themselves, and they were trying to help up. And they ended up getting some japa beads and things, so they're happy campers. So we're back in Vrindavan, and this is again Shri Shri Gaurnitai, with beautiful marigold garlands decorating them. Krishna Balaram Ki Jai.
This is ISKCON temple.
Yeah.
You don't visit all these temples.
Most of the other places, they don't want you to take pictures. And so that's one reason I don't have a lot of pictures. The other reason is that we had to try to do our whole India trip in 2 weeks. So we were and places we could go to. So because we stayed here at the temple, we were there every morning. So we got a lot of pictures of those deities. And because I've gone so many times, I tend not to, keep going again and again, the same places. So, okay, again, Hare Krishna. Okay, this is nice. The occurrence, it's like no special thing. They just take the flower petals and make these beautiful designs on the floor. So this is right before Prabhupada's Vyasa-san. Very nice, humble service and so beautiful, so fragrant. See how many garlands Prabhupada has on there. And that's after they've taken off a bunch of garlands. One kind of little thin one over there. So very opulent. And this is myself. I was able to garland Srila Prabhupada. That was quite an honor.
Nice.
And then we have a Goshala right down the street from the main temple, where they have a big hall and they have classrooms also for devotees getting different degrees in bhakti. So they have a big Goshala. So we go down there and offer a donation for the cows, and they give us these big sweet balls made of raw sugar and chickpea flour. And we love them. Their tongues are like really sticky and we stay at in Vrindavan. It's right next to the temple, to the main temple there, and it's very serene. Vrindavan can be pretty wild and hectic and loud and thieves and all kinds of things. So this is a really beautiful protected area, and we're so happy to be able to stay in one of the nice apartments there. It's very quiet and protected and very beautiful. And they have a nice lotus pond. Okay, time is up and I am out of slides. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I had a quick question.
Oh, yeah.
The last apartment you showed, is that mostly devotees that stay there?
It's all devotees.
Or-
So now we'll have Arti.